Have you ever noticed that moment when someone who once valued you suddenly stops caring? When your messages go unanswered, your energy feels wasted, and no matter how much you give, it's never enough. It's like watching a door slowly close on someone who used to smile every time you walked in. Painful, right? But let me tell you something. What you do after that moment defines how much you truly value yourself. Hey dear, I want you to sit with this thought for just a second. Not everyone who loses you actually deserves you. Most people chase after love, validation, or attention because they're afraid of silence. But what if I told you that silence is the most powerful response you'll ever have? This video isn't about getting revenge or playing games. It's about one stoic shift, one mindset that completely changes the way you deal with people who no longer see your worth. And when you learn it, something incredible happens. They start to notice your absence more than they ever noticed your presence. Now, before I tell you the simple trick, let me paint you a picture. Imagine this. You've been texting someone who used to reply instantly. Now they take hours, maybe days. You double text. You explain yourself. You try to make them see your side. You overthink every word, and still, silence. You tell yourself they're just busy, but deep down, you know. You feel that shift in energy, that coldness, that emotional distance. It hurts, but you keep chasing, hoping it'll go back to how it used to be. And that's where you make your biggest mistake. You think your presence is what keeps people, but sometimes it's your absence that speaks the loudest. See, Stoicism teaches something brutally honest. You can't control how others treat you, but you can control how long you tolerate it. You can't force people to value you, but you can choose not to beg for what should have been freely given. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it." And I'd add, if it's not mutual, don't chase it. Because here's the truth. When someone stops valuing you, the most powerful thing you can do isn't to argue, cry, or explain yourself. It's to withdraw your energy. Quietly. No drama, no announcement, just distance. You stop responding so fast. You stop explaining every emotion. You stop seeking closure from people who never gave you clarity in the first place. And that's when they start to feel it, your silence. Now, I know what you're thinking, but won't walking away make me look like I don't care? No, my friend, it'll make you look like someone who finally does care about themselves. Because let's be honest, when you constantly chase people who've stopped caring, you teach them that they can ignore you and you'll still stay. You teach them that your time and your emotions are cheap. And that's where this stoic trick comes in. Ready? Here it is. Detach to protect your peace. Not from hate, not from ego, but from self-respect. You detach because your peace matters more than their attention. You detach because explaining your worth to someone who refuses to see it only lowers your value. You detach because walking away silently tells them everything your words can't. Now let me make this real for you. There was a guy named Ryan, funny, loyal, always there for his friends, until one day he realized he was the only one showing up. He'd send texts that went ignored, make plans that got cancelled, and pretend he didn't notice the change, but he did. Deep down, he felt it. The worst part wasn't losing people. It was losing himself, trying to keep them. One day, he stopped. No goodbye text, no emotional rant, just silence. He focused on himself. Hit the gym, read, improved his mindset, started living his life again. A few weeks later, guess who texted him back? The same people who ignored him before. Why? Because people always come back, not when you chase them, but when you outgrow them, and that's the point. You don't need to prove your worth, you need to preserve it. At this point in the video, I want you to take a deep breath and ask yourself honestly, who have I been chasing that stopped valuing me? Maybe it's a friend, an ex, or even a family member. Whoever it is, I want you to remember this. The moment you stop begging for attention, you shift the power dynamic completely. This isn't about being cold or heartless. It's about emotional discipline, something Stoicism teaches beautifully. The Stoics believed that emotions aren't the enemy, attachment is. They taught that freedom begins the moment you stop letting others control how you feel. Now here's a short truth bomb that most people don't want to hear. Sometimes being ignored is the best gift you'll ever get, because it forces you to focus on yourself. It shows you who truly deserves your energy, and it teaches you that silence can heal faster than any apology ever could. If you're still watching this video right now, I know something about you. You care deeply, you give your heart fully, but you also get hurt easily because you expect others to treat you the way you treat them, and that's okay. It means you have empathy. But here's what I want you to remember next time someone doesn't value you. You don't need closure from them. You need courage within you. And by the way, if you're resonating with this message so far, pause for a second, hit that like button and subscribe. Not just to support the channel, but as a promise to yourself that from today, you'll stop chasing people who take you for granted. granted, because the next part of this story will show you exactly how walking away in silence can flip the entire script and why your absence will make them rethink everything they did. Stay with me, dear. The real power move is coming next. So let's talk about that moment, the moment you finally pull away. At first it feels strange, doesn't it? You're used to checking your phone, waiting for their message, wondering if they noticed your silence. Your mind starts racing. What if they don't care? What if they've already moved on? That voice in your head starts whispering that maybe walking away was a mistake. But listen carefully. That's not your intuition talking. That's your fear. Because your intuition knows you did the right thing. Your intuition knows that love, friendship, or connection should never require begging. And when you finally stop chasing, something inside you shifts. Your energy starts to heal. You stop waiting for their validation, and you begin to validate yourself. It's uncomfortable at first, yes, but that discomfort, it's growth in disguise. Here's what usually happens next. And if you've ever done this, you'll know exactly what I mean. The moment you go silent, they start to notice. Maybe not right away, but slowly. They start wondering why your energy disappeared, why you're not reacting anymore. They'll check your stories, maybe even send a, "Hey, you okay?" message, just to test the waters. They'll sense the change because energy doesn't lie, and that's when the power shifts. You see, the Stoics understood something profound about human psychology. People only value what they risk losing. The more available you are, the less they appreciate it. The moment you stop trying, your silence becomes mysterious. They begin to wonder if you've moved on, if you're happier without them. That curiosity eats at them. Here's where most people mess it up. They break their silence too soon. They respond too fast. They think, maybe they realized my worth now, maybe they miss me. And boom, the power dynamic resets. The moment you rush back, you teach them that your silence was temporary. But if you stay composed, if you truly master detachment, that's when everything changes. Let me tell you something personal. A friend of mine, let's call her Lily, went through this exact situation. She was dating someone who slowly started taking her for granted. Cancelled plans, short replies, always too busy. She cried, she begged, she explained, but nothing changed. Then one day, she stopped. No drama, no "we need to talk" text. She just withdrew, focused on her, went to the gym, spent time with friends, rebuilt her routine. A month later, that same guy messaged her, "Hey, I've been thinking about you lately." You know what she did? Nothing. She didn't respond, and that silence said everything. He texted again. "Did I do something wrong?" She smiled, not out of revenge, but out of realization, because she finally understood that she didn't lose him. She found herself. That's what this simple trick is all about, choosing yourself silently. Stoicism teaches that emotional control isn't about being cold, it's about being calm when everything inside you wants to react. It's choosing to walk away, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally realized your peace is more valuable than someone's half-love. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that. You can't control how others treat you, but you can control how much of yourself you give to people who take it for granted. Now here's something I want you to try, and I promise, if you do this once, you'll never chase again. When you feel ignored, instead of reacting, pause. Don't text. Don't explain. Don't check their social media. Just redirect that energy back into your life. Go for a walk. Listen to music. Work out. Read something inspiring. Build something for yourself. Because every time you choose silence over reaction, you gain emotional strength. People always ask, "But won't they think I don't care?" And I always answer, if they truly cared, they wouldn't have put you in a position to question it. This next part is going to sting a little, but it's the truth. You were never too much. You were just giving too much to the wrong person. And here's the thing, silence doesn't mean ignoring your emotions, it means mastering them. It's knowing when to speak, and when your absence will speak louder. When someone devalues you, silence becomes your statement. Now imagine this, a few weeks after you've gone quiet, they start to feel your energy missing. Their life continues, but something feels off. You used to be their emotional constant, the person who checked in, who made them feel seen. Now that's gone, and that void, it bothers them. But by then, you've changed. You've grown stronger. You've built peace so deep that their return doesn't shake you anymore. That's what walking away does. It doesn't punish them, it frees you. But wait, here's a twist most people don't expect. When you detach, the world doesn't shrink, it expands. New people appear, new energy flows into your life. The more you focus inward, the more magnetic you become outwardly, because people are drawn to calm energy, the kind that doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't need to prove anything. And that's when they realize, man, they lost something rare. By now you might be wondering, what if they never come back? And here's the most liberating truth you'll ever hear. Then they were never meant to stay. Not everyone you lose is a loss. Some departures are just divine redirections, a sign that something better is waiting for you once you stop clinging to what's not. Before we move to the next part, I want you to repeat this quietly to yourself. I am not afraid of losing people who don't value me. Say it again, louder this time. I am not afraid of losing people who don't value me. Because that belief right there, that's your freedom, that's your peace. And hey, if this message hit you somewhere deep, pause for a second. Comment below something simple like, I choose peace. Not for me, but as a declaration to yourself. Because once you start choosing peace over attention, everything in your life begins to change. Now in the next part, I'm going to share how your silence psychologically rewires how others perceive you, and why detachment is the most powerful form of self-respect you'll ever master. You don't want to miss that. Stay with me. Let's go a little deeper into the psychology behind this, because understanding this changes everything. When you go silent, you're not just removing your words, you're removing your energy, your presence, and your emotional investment. And here's what happens inside the other person's mind. They start to feel something missing, not because they love you more all of a sudden, but because your attention was their emotional fuel. See, every time you texted first, every time you apologized just to keep peace, every time you over-explained, you were feeding them a sense of control. It made them feel important. But when you suddenly stop, when the texts stop coming, when the validation disappears, their ego feels that void. It's not love they miss, it's the feeling of being desired. This is why silence hits so hard. It forces them to face the truth they were running from, that attention isn't guaranteed. And this is exactly what Stoicism teaches. The more detached you are from needing validation, the more power you have. Epictetus said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." Think about that. It's not their rejection that hurts you most. It's the story you tell yourself about it. The, "I wasn't enough," or "maybe if I had tried harder." But when you remove that story, when you stop overanalyzing, and simply accept that some people aren't meant to stay, your pain transforms into peace. Now let's flip perspectives for a second. Imagine you're the one who used to be taken for granted. You stop reacting. You start working on yourself. You look better, feel calmer, start achieving small wins. People start to notice this new version of you, the one who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't overthink. And suddenly, the same people who ignored you start circling back. Why? Because silence mixed with self-growth is magnetic. Let me share a story that'll hit home for many of you. There was this guy, Jake, heart of gold, always putting everyone first. His girlfriend used to treat him like an option, cancelling on dates, ignoring calls, giving bare minimum effort. But Jake was afraid to lose her, so he tolerated it. Until one night he saw her laughing at her phone, and when he asked what was funny, she said, "Oh, it's nothing." That moment shattered something inside him. The next morning, he didn't argue. He didn't demand answers. He just stopped. He stopped calling, stopped checking her posts, started focusing on his life, gym, work, and journaling every morning. Weeks passed. Silence. Then out of nowhere, she texted, "You've changed." Jake replied simply, "I had to." And that one sentence carried more power than any emotional speech ever could. Because here's the truth. People never respect what you keep giving for free. They respect what they realize they can lose. Silence gives them that realization. But let's go deeper. This isn't just about relationships. It's about life. Friends, family, co-workers, the same rule applies. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If someone constantly crosses your boundaries and you keep forgiving without accountability, you're not being kind, you're being self-destructive. And you know what Stoicism says about that? It's simple. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Meaning, don't tell people you've changed. Show them through your silence, through your peace, through the way you no longer react to every little disrespect. Silence is not the absence of communication, it's the presence of control. Now here's where your mindset needs to shift completely. Most people believe silence makes them look weak, but in reality, silence only feels weak when you're still emotionally dependent on the other person. Once you reclaim that dependency, silence becomes your superpower. Let's be brutally honest here. The reason most people can't stay silent is because they're afraid of being forgotten. They think if they don't reach out, the other person will move on. But what if I told you that's exactly what's supposed to happen? Because the ones who forget you when you stop chasing were never meant to stay. And the ones who truly value you will never let your silence last too long. This is emotional maturity, the point where you realize that not everyone deserves access to you. Your energy is not a charity. You don't owe explanations to people who broke your peace. You don't owe attention to those who only noticed you when you were useful. From this point forward, I want you to imagine yourself as a mirror. Whoever looks into you will only see what they bring. If they bring love, they'll see love. If they bring disrespect, they'll see distance. That's how Stoic self-respect works, it reflects, not reacts. Now let's talk about the shift, the one that happens after 30 days of emotional silence. You wake up one morning and realize you're not checking your phone first thing anymore. You're not replaying old conversations in your head. You're not hoping for closure, because deep down, you already found it in your own peace. That's the thing no one tells you. Silence doesn't just affect others, it heals you. Every moment you don't respond to negativity, you're retraining your mind to value stillness over chaos. You're telling yourself, I choose peace, not validation. And guess what? People feel that shift. They see it in your eyes, your posture, your words. You stop needing attention, and suddenly, attention starts chasing you. Let me drop a question here. When was the last time you felt completely at peace with being misunderstood? Because once you can be misunderstood and still stay silent, you've mastered self-control. That's what Stoicism is all about, mastering yourself, not others. So here's your next challenge. For the next 7 days, practice the silence test. If someone ignores your message, don't chase. If someone gives you half effort, match it with calm distance. If someone disrespects your time, politely remove access to your energy. Don't announce it, don't explain it, just do it. Because 1 week of silence teaches people more about your standards than 100 emotional paragraphs ever could. Before we go to the next part, I want to remind you of one powerful truth. You are not being rude by choosing peace, you're being wise. In the next section, we're going to go even deeper. I'll reveal how silence triggers respect and attraction psychologically, even in people who once ignored you, and why the Stoics believe that the quietest person in the room always holds the most power. Stay here. This is where things start to get really interesting. Let's talk about something fascinating, the psychology of silence. You see, when you stop talking, people start listening differently. When you stop explaining, they start wondering. When you stop chasing, they start questioning. And that shift, that curiosity, is where your power begins. Most people think attraction is built through attention, constant texting, checking in, proving your loyalty. But in reality, attraction often grows in absence. Why? Because silence creates space. Space creates mystery, and mystery creates value. You know why people start to respect you more when you pull away? It's not because they suddenly understand your worth. It's because your silence breaks a pattern they were comfortable with. You were always available, predictable, consistent, emotionally open. They knew you'd reply. They knew you'd forgive. They knew you'd be there. But when you disappear, their brain starts craving that familiarity again. Here's where psychology kicks in. The human brain is wired to seek closure. When a pattern breaks without explanation, the mind becomes restless. It starts filling in the blanks. Did they lose interest? Did I do something wrong? Are they with someone else? That uncertainty creates emotional tension, and emotional tension creates attraction. This is what I call the Stoic pull. You're not manipulating anyone. You're simply removing your energy and letting nature take its course. People start to chase what they can't predict, and your calm silence becomes unpredictable. But here's the twist. You don't do it to make them chase you. You do it because you've realized that peace is more valuable than validation. That's the true essence of Stoicism, mastering the self, not the situation. Let me tell you a quick story. There was this girl, Emma. She was the kind who always gave 110% in every friendship and relationship. She'd text first, check up on people, always trying to keep connections alive. But over time, she noticed something painful. When she stopped putting in effort, most people stopped trying too. It hit her like a wave. She was the glue holding relationships together that others didn't care to maintain. So one day she stopped. No anger, no long messages, just silence. At first, it hurt. It felt lonely. But soon something strange started to happen. Peace. Real, deep peace. She began to notice how much energy she'd been wasting trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding her. She started spending time alone, journaling, walking outside, feeling alive again. And then the calls started coming. The "Hey stranger" texts, the "You've changed" comments. But Emma didn't respond the same way anymore. She had grown. She wasn't seeking validation. She was living in alignment. That's the thing about silence. It's not about ignoring people. It's about choosing yourself quietly. When you stop explaining yourself, you start attracting people who just get you. No convincing, no performing. Just alignment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In simple words, don't react. Rise above. When they go cold, stay calm. When they devalue you, Stay dignified. When they ghost you, go silent, not to win a game, but to protect your peace. Now, let's bring this to modern life, because I know what you're thinking. This all sounds wise, but how do I apply it in real situations? Imagine you text someone and they leave you on seen. Normally, your first instinct might be to double text or say, "Did you see my message?" But the stoic response, you don't. You let it be. You move on with your day. You post something positive, not to get their attention, but to show yourself that life continues. That's silence with strength. Or maybe a friend starts acting distant. You sense the vibe. Instead of chasing or asking, "Are you mad at me?" you give space. You let them come to you. Because anyone who truly values you will never let space turn into separation. Silence is not about ignoring. It's about inviting. It invites truth. It reveals intentions. When you stop talking, people show you who they are. And here's something powerful. Silence also amplifies your presence. Think about people you admire, the ones who walk into a room and instantly command respect. They don't talk the most. They talk with purpose. Their silence carries weight because it's not empty. It's intentional. You want to be that kind of person, the kind who doesn't waste words explaining their worth, but whose energy makes people feel it. Let me drop a truth bomb here. Every time you break your silence too soon, you're teaching people that your boundaries are negotiable. Every time you rush to explain yourself, you're teaching them that they can confuse you with inconsistency. Every time you chase, you're teaching them that your value depends on their attention. But when you stay silent, calm, composed, confident, you flip that entire script. You teach them that your energy is earned, not demanded. You teach them that losing you has consequences. That's how respect is born. That's how attraction rebuilds. And that's how self-worth becomes visible without saying a single word. Now here's the best part. When you finally learn to sit in silence, you begin to see everything more clearly. You start noticing who checks in on you and who only shows up when they need something. You start feeling peace where chaos used to live. You realize that silence doesn't create distance. It filters your circle. Quick reflection. Take 5 seconds right now and think of one person you've been chasing emotionally. Ask yourself, if I stopped reaching out, would they notice? If the answer scares you, that's where your lesson begins. Don't be afraid to test people with silence, not out of ego, but out of self-awareness, because people's reactions to your distance reveal their true intentions more than their words ever could. Remember, dear, the strongest people aren't those who speak the loudest. They're the ones who stay silent when everything inside them wants to scream. In the next part, I'm going to show you how silence not only changes relationships, but transforms you. We'll dive into how your energy shifts, your confidence rebuilds, and why walking away with calmness makes the universe send you something or someone better than you ever imagined. Stay here. This next part is where your healing truly begins. And now we've reached that moment, the quiet ending, the kind of silence that doesn't hurt anymore. You've heard everything, you've felt the words, and maybe right now, you're sitting in that same stillness wondering, what happens next? Let me tell you what happens. You begin to heal. See, healing doesn't happen when they apologize. Healing begins the moment you stop waiting for one. It starts when you stop asking, why didn't they value me? And start asking, why did I keep giving my peace to someone who didn't? That's when the story changes. That's when the pain becomes purpose. Because the truth is, people come and go. Feelings fade. Energy shifts. But who you become through it all, that's what truly matters. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about mastering them. It's learning to stand tall in a storm and whisper to yourself, I'm still here. So if someone stopped valuing you, if they walked away, if they made you feel replaceable, don't chase. Don't beg. Don't try to prove your worth. You already have it. Their inability to see it doesn't make it disappear. Let silence do what words never could. Because silence is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's the language of strength, of maturity, of people who've learned that peace will always cost less than validation. The next time you feel like texting that person who doesn't respond anymore, stop. Put your phone down. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, you are the peace you've been trying to find in other people. You don't need to make them understand what they lost. Life will teach them eventually. You just need to keep walking, quietly, gracefully, and with your head held high, because one day they'll look back and realize the truth. You were never ordinary. You were the calm they couldn't keep. And maybe, just maybe, they'll hear your silence louder than any goodbye you could have said. But by then, you'll be somewhere better. Not with someone necessarily, but with yourself. You'll wake up one morning, sunlight on your face, coffee in hand, and you'll feel it. Peace. The kind of peace that comes when you stop trying to be understood and start understanding yourself. You'll look in the mirror and see a version of you that survived heartbreak without bitterness, distance without revenge, and silence without losing your softness. That version of you, that's your victory. That's the person Stoicism was preparing you to become all along. Because Stoicism isn't cold. It's clarity. It's not emotionless. It's emotionally intelligent. It teaches you that life isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling your reactions to them. You don't respond to disrespect. You don't beg for attention. You don't explain your worth. You simply become so grounded, so calm, that people either rise to meet your peace or they fade, trying. And those who fade, let them. Because the ones meant for you, friends, partners, mentors, even strangers, they won't need convincing. They'll feel your energy and choose to stay. They'll match your silence with presence, your calm with effort, your peace with consistency. That's what you deserve. Not attention that comes and goes like a flicker, but energy that stays steady even in silence. And to get that, you have to stop giving your loyalty to confusion. You have to stop auditioning for love. You have to stop watering relationships that only grow weeds. Listen, your heart is rare. Your energy is gold. Your time is sacred. Don't hand those things to people who treat them like loose change. Let them go. Let them misunderstand you. Let them call you distant, arrogant, or cold, because one day they'll realize you weren't any of those things. You were just done being drained. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to wish them pain. You just have to accept that not everyone who walks with you is meant to walk to the end. Some people are lessons, and some are blessings. Both are necessary. So as we close this message, I want you to promise yourself something. Not to me, not to anyone else, to you. Promise that from today forward, you will never beg for attention again. You will never explain your worth to someone blind to it. You will never break your silence just to be heard by people who stopped listening long ago. Because your silence is sacred. It's not empty. It's full of power, healing, and truth. And if you ever forget your value, remember this: diamonds don't beg to be noticed. The world simply notices when they shine. So shine quietly, fearlessly, authentically. Keep walking, keep growing, keep choosing peace even when it's lonely. Because that silence, it's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your evolution. And one day you'll look back at this exact season, the one that hurt, the one that broke you, the one that made you feel invisible, and you'll smile. You'll realize it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Life was moving people out of your path to make space for the version of you that finally learned what true strength feels like. And that, my friend, is the real Stoic lesson. Let go with grace. Love without attachment. And when someone stops valuing you, thank them silently for showing you where not to invest your energy again. Because from that moment on, your life begins to align with peace. So, if this message spoke to you today, take it as a sign. A sign that it's time to stop chasing people and start chasing purpose. A sign that silence isn't your punishment, it's your rebirth. And before this video ends, I want you to do something powerful. Comment below just 3 words. I choose peace. Let it be your promise to yourself. Let it be your goodbye to everything that drained you. And remember, you don't need to be loud to be heard. You don't need to fight to prove your worth. You don't need to chase what's meant for you, because what's truly meant for you will never need convincing. It will recognize your silence and stay. This is your moment. Walk in peace, dear. Your silence now speaks louder than any word ever could.